Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Saved by the Bellerin. My name's Ryan, I'm your host today, and unfortunately Sam and Raf couldn't be with us today, work commitments and the rest of it. So as you can see, we've got a very special guest with me today. I would like you to all say hello to Poet from YouTube, Poet of Vuj.
Hi everyone. I'm from my mum, really.
Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate it.
How is you all staying safe in the current climate and the coronavirus?
Yeah. I'm not wearing a mask. I'm talking to people, and I love it.
No,
How are you? Are you safe?
Trying my best.
Amazing.
Work and all the rest of it, can't really social distance, but that's what we're trying our best.
Everything will be fine. It will be what it will be.
So obviously I've got a few questions for you, if that's all right.
No problem, right? I believe that's why we're here today.
Yeah. So I know you're a massive Arsenal fan, just like the rest of us on this show. I've seen your tattoo.
Yeah.
Where did it all start for you? Where did you fall in love with Arsenal?
Maybe kind of to talk to my dad. Like, my dad was a bit of a Spurs fan, and I wasn't really into football. I was into basketball quite a bit, and I remember thinking, man, like, what's my entry point to football? Because everyone that liked football wasn't really like me. I'm from like Mad Estate, so people played football, but like my age group, like, they weren't really into it, playing basketball and stuff. And then I saw Ian Wright, and I just loved his rebellious attitude. I loved the way he conducted himself in interviews. It was the thing that stood out amongst all the footballers. He was very charismatic, and for some strange reason, he was able to display his character whilst he was playing. And I found that to be art. That was art to me. That was like, wow, like, everyone plays football, but in England, everyone's got a kind of similar style. Somehow, this Don just looks mad unique. So it was him, man. He's responsible for me supporting Arsenal, to be fair. Me just grabbed the door. If it was any other team, I would have supported another team for them. So Ian Wright was my entry point. Thank you, bro. Have a good day, bro. So Ian Wright is solely responsible for me supporting Arsenal, and he introduced me to football.
Yeah, so I can completely relate to pretty much all of that, because my whole family are Spurs fans too. And when my mum met my stepdad, he introduced me to Arsenal. And that brings me to my next question. Actually, that segues perfectly, because I was going to ask who inspired you. Who's your favorite players growing up? Because for me, like you, it was Ian Wright and Dennis Bergkamp.
So for me, everything that inspires me in life is always something that I kind of recognize or relate, or I'm like, oh, that reminds me of my cousin, or because that's my entry point. If it's something like mad unique and I have no direct connection to it, I just appreciate it for what it is, but it's not necessarily an inspiration. So Ian Wright was a massive inspiration for me. R9 became a massive inspiration. Loads of footballers, but Arsenal-wise, it was Ian Wright and Thierry Henry. Nobody inspired me more than them two. And that's not to play down the other footballers. They were absolutely incredible, the likes of Dennis Bergkamp. But inspiration's a very internal thing. So it was Thierry Henry. I even remember when he scored against us, Manchester United, after Fabian Barthez gave him some silly little pass. I think it's 01-02 season. And he took his top, backed his top up, and he said, did it for the West Indies. And he's just like, there is nobody to advertise the West Indies in the Premier League to that degree. And the West Indies is a small part that makes up England. So I was like, rah, you mean there's someone that's kind of talking to us? Before that, it's like Ian Wright and Ricardo Gardner. So, yeah, man, Thierry Henry was massive for me.
Yeah, because I remember when I was growing up and my dad brought home the 98-99 season shirt with Bergkamp on the back. And for me, that was it. I just loved Dennis Bergkamp. I just watched every single thing I could. I had videotapes, VHSs of Dennis Bergkamp, Arsenal, and the previous years. I just fell in love with Arsenal, Bergkamp, in general, the Netherlands. Been that he was my inspiration. Like that's why I play football.
Oh, amazing! Yeah, he's incredible.
Yeah, definitely. And segueing into the next one, for me, you're a big personality, like on YouTube. For me personally, anyway. And I just wanted to know, as a striving person, like trying to be successful in YouTube and in sports journalism, how hard was it for you to get to the point where you're pretty well known or in the scene and that kind of thing?
I haven't changed anything really in my life, so I didn't even know when I entered it.
No, it's just
it's not like a building. You know, like when you walk into a building, you know you've entered the building, so you're in it. Yeah. So when people say to me, "How did you get in it?" It's like, you'd have to tell me, because as far as I know, like I know what the interpretation means, but as far as I know, I've just done what I've done, worked with my friends, and the mechanic has just had more application to it, if anything. So I've just applied myself a little bit better and taken this mechanic a little bit more serious in my life. But in terms of being anywhere different, I'm not. Still hanging around my brother, still with all my cousins, still with all my friends from day one, met new people, brought them part of the circle. Not really that interested with everything else and what's going on. I'm more interested with my journey and what's going on and my perspectives and my educational journey through watching football. And within that, I guess I may be somebody that people look at and, you know, watch quite a bit. And I appreciate it so much, like more than people know. But I'm genuinely just doing what I want. I don't know how else to word it. And just and getting some application with the compromise of what business is. And that's it. So I will never know. Like, it's weird to me that Ian Wright and Rio Ferdinand, all these people know me, because when I was younger, I felt I had to be in a particular place or I had to live a particular life. Bro, within reason and within my principles, I do what I want. I genuinely do what I want. And I would just say to other people, I think that's a more easy way of becoming a success in anything, rather than going somewhere and putting a level of expectation and pressure on something that has the capacity to disappoint you. I'd rather place it in environments where I'm a little bit more aware of the dangers and a little bit more aware of how you can disappoint me, rather than placing myself in a room full of strangers. It doesn't really make sense to me.
I completely understand. And I just wanted to say to you that you inspire me, because you don't change for anyone. You're literally you, and that's it. You can't, there's no false anything with you. It's this is what you get, and this is it. And that's why
it's only inspiring. Yeah, right. But it's just, do you know what? So it's only because I just know why I leave my house. If I have no reason to leave my house, I'll stay in my home. But if I've left my house to produce a piece of content in a particular way, and I get there and there's things that are trying to restrict me for doing that for any one reason, whether it be someone else's opinion and someone else, I have to work on the way maybe I execute it. But in terms of me doing my job, that's far more important than what anybody else is doing to me. It's very important I do my job. And it's not to take away from you doing your own, but I make content to find out answers, to help people in life. So when people make content to just have discussion, I just don't want to be involved in it, because I just think things get lost within discussion. But if we're all trying to find out the answer, how can we get lost?
Yeah. Fair point. Completely understand. And going into YouTube and that, how does it feel to have no rules on YouTube now?
In what sense?
Because I watch your shows and you and Vuj, I have no rules now. I have no rules. How does it feel to just do what you want?
Rules. That's a saying Specs said. Specs Gonzalez, my good friend. He has a saying called no rules, and he stuck to it for so long, and this is all he ever does. And we've just taken it off him. And when we say there's no rules, obviously it's jokes and funny, but like on a serious one, it's like, I'm saying there's no rules to the rules that you've set, so there's no rules. If that's the rules that you've given me, then there's none.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why I say there's no rules. Not because you can do whatever you want, but where we are, the rules you've given me, I'm not afraid of them. Like, they don't apply to me. So therefore, there's no rules. So they say, for example, don't swear on YouTube, and they give you loads of penalties that could potentially be given to you if you don't apply what they want you to apply. But if I'm in a place where I might want to swear 3 times, I'm not saying it's right, I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm saying I'm going to do it. You can't just try and make me not do that. Like, I've done it for so long in my life. I have to organically get myself out of that mechanic so I don't do it. Not you told me not to do it when half the content on YouTube that made it big in the first place is people just expressing themselves how they are. And I think that journey within life is a beautiful way. It's only if you're open to learning. It's a beautiful way of becoming better at YouTube. Like, I put my stuff on YouTube. I see the comments and all of that. How do we get better? All right, cool, and improve. And I do that when nobody cares. Now I'm at a point where I kind of know what I'm doing. So it's like, okay, you can leave all the comments that you want. I'm not interested. Like, I now know what I'm doing. I wouldn't walk into bloody KFC and jump behind the counter and say to somebody without any experience of doing it to myself, let me show you how to make these chips. Like, yeah, you may know how you want your chips eaten, but that's got nothing to do with what I need to do when I'm making my chips. So that's how I look at YouTube content and stuff like that. Like, so that's why the no rules thing came. Because it's like the rules that everyone places on YouTube, that don't apply to me. So over here, there's no rules.
Fair enough. And I've watched all of your FIFA and chills. Which one was your favorite one to do? Because my favorite one was when you did the FIFA launch with Alex Iwobi. That's my favorite one.
Do you know what? Do you know how funny that was? Imagine. So when we were going there, I think I was with Shorty and Maximum for BBK, and I was with 2 other people. And at the time, we were at the stadium, and this is the reasons why I say there's no rules for me anyway. We've got there, and my friends are like, "Oh, we can't get in." I said, "It's a building, and there's an entrance, and there's an exit. The best thing you say to me is someone's not letting you in. You can't say to me you can't get in because everyone knows how to get into this building. So we just got to figure out why that guy doesn't want to let us in the building, and we can relieve that pressure." So this is on the way of me being late. So I said to them, "Look, turn around." I think Logan Salmon was there. "Turn around, we're going back. So we got to the building, and the guy says, "Oh, I can't let you order them in." I said, "Well, you have to, because you lot have paid me to come here to do a service. And these are my friends that are with me, and I've traveled with them all day. So why is it that you could come here with all your mates, everyone else can come here with all their mates, but me, who has to provide some service to make content to give to the world, cannot come here with all his mates? This is a bit weird. If there is these rules, then we should all apply for them. Otherwise, there's no rules. It's just like, there's rules, but if you're heavily involved, you can bend them a bit. And if you're a nobody, you must comply." I said, "That's unfair." All of us went in. So now there's like 6 of us walking through, 7 of us walking through. And then we get to the part where Iwobi is. Iwobi's just expecting, and Vuj and everybody else, Poet to be late. I've walked in with some Boy Better Know members, some of my cousins, some next ones. So Iwobi's like, "What's going on?" I felt so bad. So I spent the first part of it just saying to him how great he is and he's a legend. I was like, "I'm so sorry, bro." And it wasn't like he was scared or anything. It was just a bit overwhelming. Like, I've come here to do a job, not see all of this. And then he battered us 9-0 or something like that. So,
because he must have been thinking, I just got man of the match against Chelsea at the weekend, and then I'm here. What's going on?
Dealing with this. What's going on? So, and you know what? I might even stick with that one. I feel so bad because we went through a little spell where we used to tease him far too much. And I think he was a bit funny with us, but he is a very sound person. Very, very sound person. Iwobi is a very, very sound person. He even, off the back of the relationship from there, he watched a bit of our content called Filthy Fellas.
Yeah.
And then we got at him for him using, for his food. And then he done it again. He goes, "You're getting at me for doing the food? Well, I'm going to do it again, Filthy Fellas." So he's a proper good guy. I'll stick with that one. I'll stick with your choice. Yeah. Good guy.
I met him outside the Emirates, when the players all drive out in their cars and whatnot. He stayed there for an hour and a half, just signing everybody's match programs, their T-shirts, whatever. He just sat in his car signing everyone that came to it. I was like,
do you know what? Alex Iwobi is a very, very humble man. Very humble man. And I think, myself included, and a lot of Arsenal fans, we're very, very guilty of giving him far too much pressure and eradicating the fact that he was a young man coming up in his journey. I remember when he watched him in the Emirates Cup, he was compared to Jeff. And we kind of people were favouring Jeff. And Alex Iwobi probably heard that as well. He overcame that hurdle. He got released at one point. He overcame that hurdle. He's had so many hurdles in his life. And it's like, when are you just going to allow the boy to just enjoy his football and play? So I'm a little, speaking about him, I always feel guilty because I feel like, did I ever contribute to aiding some of his bad performances where he wasn't performing to what we all know he can and he's capable of doing? So I've got a lot of love and admiration for an individual who's consistently come over hurdles like he has in such an adolescence of his career. So yeah, good young man, really good guy.
I completely agree, and I'm glad he's doing well at Everton now, because I was a fan of Alex Iwobi. I had him on a few of my shirts, and I felt bad for him when he left because people were slating him. Or he doesn't cost this. He's not worth this amount. I was like, well, kind of the pressure from Arsenal fan base as well. I'm sure you've seen it as much as me. They turn on a player so quickly.
I see why though. You're talking about, especially the type of Arsenal fan it is. You're talking about a group of individuals that have inherited a way of communicating football, and they don't know any different. And some of them are in working class homes where they have so many pressures, they ain't got the time to think about the right way to speak to Ian Wright or Tony Adams when he's there. It's just you got to talk to him however we feel at the time. So if you had a good game and you've played well, you're going to get all love from us. But if I'm upset because Arsenal played shit and you contributed to that, the thought process of, all right, how do we overcome this hurdle is gone out the window. Yo, crap. Yeah. And that mechanic of Arsenal fans is louder purely because we found a way to make it louder. And that pressure on these young players, when I now think, when I was 19, I felt pressure from my mum. Imagine a whole fan group for a team that you've always wanted to play for, giving you that much pressure. Nah, you don't deserve that, geezer. Because we all tried to be footballers. You're the one that made it. And now we're here turning our back on you, talking about what you should be doing. Flip me, boy. So, yeah, I feel the Arsenal fan group is a bit mad sometimes, all of us. And I think we're all a bit mad. It's just like we notice it more because we're Arsenal fans. Maybe if I was a Birmingham City fan, I would know how mad it is to be a Birmingham City fan. But as an Arsenal fan, I can identify faults in my judgment growing up. And I think a lot more Arsenal fans, if they're a bit more honest, could do the same thing. So treat it like marriage, man. Freaking thin. Just try and help everything and move it forward, I guess.
Yeah, and on this podcast, I can safely say we are possibly the most positive group of people to do with Arsenal I've ever seen. Even against Leeds, when we haven't played very well, we've just gone, well, we move forward from this. How can we just get better, kind of thing. I don't like looking at the negative because obviously you have to take negatives and move forward with it. But if you dwell on it too much, it becomes toxic. And then for me, I can't live like that.
But the problem is, it's like, you can't align, I don't know, I mean, I'm sorry if I'm going on, you can't align too much of your own principles with a football club. Yep. There's no point. You're just going to be disappointed. If you're a man in your life that you feel that when something needs to be mended, you're there to mend it, and then you have a love and affiliation for a football club that doesn't apply that mechanic or that train of thought, then you're going to be consistently disappointed. I get why you're disappointed. I get why you're angry after a year. You might be thinking, oh, mate, if I need a new washing machine, I'll sort it straight away like that. And then you think Arsenal needs a new centre-back, and 2 years later, we still need a new centre-back, and we've had 4 transfer windows to sort it out. Are you going to be angry? Of course. You bought a shirt, you buy tickets, you watch the games. You invest in what you love, and all you're asking for is a return. I actually get the concept of why you're vexed. It's your choice. I don't love Arsenal like that no more. I love football. So that way, if I'm ever disappointed by Arsenal, there'll be an example somewhere on a Saturday or a Sunday or a Monday or a Tuesday, plays every day now. There'll be an example somewhere of why I love football. And I don't want to run away from that because of my love for a club. So I do want people to be positive, but I want people to be more realistic. Because with realism comes acceptance. And with acceptance, you don't even get peed off, really. In a nutshell, then, I just like realism. I'm a fan of realism because that's the thing you always have to go back to get a clearer perspective on how to move forward. If it's to do with perspectives, there's a case that someone could be wrong. If it's to do with real life, well, it is what it is.
Yeah, very well said. And as you can obviously see, our name is saved by the Bellerin, so it's named after Hector. Mm-hmm. What was the feeling when you saw he wore the boots that you had co-designed. That must have been crazy.
It's hit me now. It hit me when I left Copenhagen. It hit me for the past year. At the time, in my mind, it was like, this is meant to happen. Like, I need to be doing all of these things, and I was so driven, work-based. I didn't even take the time to figure out what actually happened. And recently, I've just had much more time to myself. So, because I didn't even think about it, I might have even said Arsenal should buy a right back. God knows, who knows what I would have said. I had no time to appreciate what actually Hector Bellerin done for me, and Puma, and what the position I put myself in. It's ridiculous, bro. It's absolutely ridiculous. My whole family were contacting me based upon a boot and a concept me, one of my best friends, made up in Germany. It took us 1 year to create that. And then one of my favorite managers of all time, Jose Mourinho, Arnautovic wears the boot against Manchester United for West Ham and primarily contributes to him probably getting fired. I was just like, this is all ridiculous. Like, these are moments in my life which are relatable in someone else's life and shared amongst so much other fans. Ridiculous to me, man. I couldn't believe it. And then Nike copied it of Jadon Sancho. So I was like, oh, that's nice.
Did you get any loyalties there? I would have been on the phone. Sorry, lads.
I saw it out in my own time. I've got other things to sort out right now. But yeah, that wasn't nice. But yeah, the Bellerin situation was just... I mean, now I realise that even though I'm in debt to him to a little bit, because he didn't just wear it in one game. He could have said, I don't want to wear it. So I've realised within the past year, I feel like I'm in debt to him anyway. So if there was ever anything he ever needed in life, and I don't imagine there will be, I 100% would dedicate time to sorting it out, because that's an inspirational thing to do for someone. I didn't realise until I went back to my old estate this year more and everything. It's ridiculous, bruv, like what happened. So I'm very thankful for him, because I don't even think he realises what he done. So shout out to him, Arnautovic, and Troy Deeney more recently, who wore it this year as well. So I appreciate it.
Because when you posted it on Instagram, I was gassed for you, because I was just happy for you. Like, Hector Bellerin, Arsenal right back, like, is wearing something you've made. It's mind-boggling, kind of.
Like, what the hell's going on? I'm just a little boy from North London, cause like I don't have a clue what's going on sometimes. So incredible, man. I'm so thankful.
Yeah, and going on to like that kind of subject of things that have happened to you. You played in the Wembley Cup, and you shared a pitch with Robert Pires, Patrick Kluivert, Steven Gerrard, I think, played in 1 year. How was that, seeing all these people you've grown up watching, and then you're on the pitch with them in front of all these people?
That was different to the boot. You couldn't avoid that. I was nervous, excited, happy, sad. I felt like I just watched Titanic. There was like so many range of emotions. 1 minute I'm like, oh my God, what's she doing with Jack? Then I'm like, yeah, Jack's kind of cool. Then I'm like, just move over a bit so you can save Jack's life. Like, there was so much range of emotions I went through just in that game. It was absolutely incredible. And how cool all of them were, how professional they were, how serious they took it. Oh, mate. And again, for that situation there, I'm in debt to Spencer Owen. I'm in debt to him. Again, he may not realise. With that one, it's not like Hector Bellerin. I'm in debt to Hector Bellerin, but not the way I'm in debt to Spencer Owen. That changed my life, bro. That primarily, at that point in time, with everything happening, my two kids, they never remember it. They watched their dad play at Wembley with Robert Pires. Like, come on, man. That's something I tell my kids like 40 years from now when they're like big and old and stuff. So I'm in debt to Spencer Owen. That's one of the best things I've ever done in my life. My whole entire life. Incredible.
I remember tweeting at Arsenal during the game. I was like, you should sign him we need a centre back. Next to Laura Castoni.
Bruv, I'll tell you what, Jamie Redknapp was on me. He was so on me, and I was so nervous that one time I think he said something. I said, fam, sharp. I got so mad. The Tottenham came out flying. And they were like, wait a minute. It's Wembley Cup, mate. Chill out. So, it was, bruh, that was breathtaking, man. Spencer Owen, wherever you are in the road right now, thank you so much, man. I love that man so much.
Yeah, 100%. I appreciate everything he's done for that YouTube as well. That he's opened so many doors for so many people. And I don't think he kind of gets the respect he deserves in that kind of aspect.
It doesn't matter though, you know, because everyone's going to realize one day, with hindsight, hindsight's a beautiful thing. I'm not a prisoner to the moment. I don't need to rush anything. What Spencer's done for so much people in life has happened. And one day you'll hear all the stories, bruv. Like, the appreciation is there. It's just that we don't need to scream about it. More people will scream about other things that make them happy. Spencer Owen has changed man's life. 100%. He used to work at Copenhagen when I worked at Copenhagen, and he was FIFA player. And the disrespect that he got, he bust out and created a monster. And Copenhagen had to come crawling back to him to say, hey, maybe we can work together. It wasn't so bad, because they had no hindsight. They didn't know what they had in their company. Spencer Owen is a genius. Absolute genius. Genius. He should manage Arsenal alongside Arteta. I'll have faith.
Speaking of Arteta, that actually is the perfect segue into my next question, because I was going to ask, he's the manager now. How do you think he has done so far?
Incredible. Jet black hair. Absolutely incredible. Incredible. And I don't even know what to say. Like, sometimes I get to a prisoner at the moment and I'll be like, I see the grey hairs and certain things come out of me. I'm human, you know, I'm going to make mistakes. But in all, I look at the job that he's got. I say, all right, cool. You're not even 40 years old yet. You could probably still play. So you're going into the game where being a young manager is something you say. You don't have the same luxury as a manager that's been in the game for time. He's just a manager. You're a young manager. So there's all of this weight of expectation and this and that. That's how you come into the game. They think it's going to be fresh and exciting because that's what the media world does to you. They put this weight of responsibility that you didn't ask for, and they sort of tell you your path. And it's like, well, if you don't achieve that, you're rubbish. That's not life. In actual life, in real life, where everyone lives, we don't live in media. In actual real life, Mikel Arteta took a job on from somebody that used to wear Valentino trainers who no longer works at the club, Freddie Ljungberg. And he took the club from a guy called Unai Emery, who had an opportunity to learn English in a way where he can communicate with everybody, but didn't fulfill it for whatever reason. He's back in Spain. Cool, hey presto, that was never going to work. And he got it from a man that had conditioned his mindset to work with minimal resources, and when he was given more resources, didn't really know what to do. So that's what Arteta has had to inherit. That's not like a last 10 years of continued success on a heightened level. It's FA Cup trophies. That's what he's inherited. So if that's what the last 10 years has pretty much been, for anyone to be expecting Champions League qualification and all of these things, very confusing to me. Because if I take a look at 10 years ago in comparison to now, in the world of business, it's a failing business. So where we are right now is we are a conversational club for Europa League. We are a potential Europa League club today. Not with our history included. With our history included, we're a Champions League club. So what has Mikel Arteta done with a conversational Europa League club, like maybe they'll get Europe, that's the club we are. What has he done with that when he took the job in December? December, we already know the past history. Forget about what you consider to be a great achievement as a manager. Everyone's circumstances are different. So therefore, your circumstances should determine your success. If you've improved your circumstances vastly, you are doing a good job. You don't need a trophy to quantify that. Defensively, we're much better. We've got an FA Cup, and I don't know how he got it. I genuinely have no clue. I have no clue how he got it. I am seeing convincing performances out of, not as of this season so much primarily,
But some of the younger crop of players are coming through and they're showing that, you know what, we got a bit of talent. Actually, you know, let's include the season. I see Reece Nelson scored the other night. I'm seeing Willock having a bit more of an influence. Aiden Akatia's getting a run. Balogun scored the other day. So now I'm seeing a crop of young players that potentially may not have got an opportunity if there wasn't a gaffer there that understood the infrastructure of the club and didn't train Reece Nelson when he was younger. All of these things, he knows the club. So with his knowledge of the club, he's trying to improve the future. Not so much today. Sometimes when you try to improve the future, today just looks terrible. That's just the way it is. You buy a house that's not fully furnished and you just bought it and you're just like, this is the future. When someone walks in there, they're like, oh, fine, you ain't got a bath, you ain't got nothing. But you've already seen what you need to do to get it to the place that you need to get it. Now, the people around that have to trust that individual. I don't just mean the coaching staff. I don't just mean the players. I don't just mean the bloody men upstairs. I mean the fans. We all need to trust that process, even when it's a 0-0 at Leeds United. I appreciate what you do. Take a look at the positive aspects, but be real about it. And then that's when you can really monitor progression. What he's done is incredible, bro. He's beat Liverpool like twice. He beat City. He's beat Chelsea. He's beat all the clubs that we couldn't even beat before. So he's accomplished and he's done things within a short period of time that we weren't doing before in 11 months. Friend, you replicate that for another 11 months. What the hell does that look like? Because you'll have a better crop of players. And other clubs will go through transitions where they won't be as big as they are now. The likes of Man City, when you lose loads of senior players, you younger players who are not senior players, and you're expecting them to do the same job. Can't expect a 33-year-old man to do the same thing as a 20-year-old man. So the conversation Arsenal were in right now, for me, with the gaffer and the club, is one I've always wanted it to be in. We're starting from scratch, really. That's good. Really good. I'm happy with that.
I think he's changed the whole culture and the atmosphere at the club as well, because when it was under the later part of Wenger and then Emery, it kind of felt ripped out, like the culture, as you said, the infrastructure. It just felt not there whenever I went to the Emirates.
Well, I think the Emirates is, I mean, obviously I have to accept it, but the Emirates is a problem.
Yeah.
And whoever says it's not probably was born not enough to have seen Highbury, and probably wasn't born in a time where I feel football wasn't about the glamorization of life, but it was primarily about two sets of individuals doing what they had to do to win the game in the most respectful manner. That's why I appreciate the 1970 side of Brazil, or the Napoli side of the late 80s and the early 90s, or the Ajax side of 92. They epitomize why I like football. Those are the reasons why I like football. The Dynamo Kiev side with Shevchenko scoring a hat-trick against Barcelona when he was like some kid. That's what I love about football, bro. And that's what Highbury gave you. The Emirates as a name is not a name I would see in North London had it not been for a huge amount of money. So now we've already changed the one thing I like about football. Your area has a popular team. Do you know how sick that is? Your area, like if you live in the area of Highbury, you have a ground called Highbury. So when you say you live in Highbury, oh my God, you live in the Arsenal ground. Yeah. Like that was the connection between the fans and the people and the club.
Yeah.
The moment you call it Emirates, it appeals to a fortunate, so like middle class, upper class group of people. There is no working class people that understand what the hell Emirates is going on about unless they are from that cultural background. We're going to learn that as secondhand information growing up. It's got nothing to do with us. Highbury has something to do with you. Old Trafford has something to do with United fans. Stamford Bridge has something to do with Chelsea fans. So Emirates has nothing to do with Arsenal fans, but our stadium's called the Emirates. And nobody thinks this is a problem. That's the first step of a bad tomorrow. And then you take a look at everything that happened from tomorrow when we went into the Emirates. Top players leaving. We became almost like an Ajax for the whole of Europe. Cesc Fabregas later, Nasri later, Kleb later, Song later, Van Persie later. Like we're developing all these talent to say later. And then you're expecting the new crop of talent that you've got to say, this looks like a future. Bro, if you worked anywhere in the world and someone, your top player or your top performer within that working office left every single year, that is not somewhere where you feel safe and stable. And then you compare it to the Highbury era. Well, that happened for all of 2-3 years before Wenger said, what's going on here? We lost Anelka? Why? Why are we losing Anelka? We're trying to build something here. Anelka's had a phenomenal... We've lost Petit. We've lost Overmars. What's going on? How are we going to become an invincible side if we're just losing all our best crop of players? All right, cool. If that's what you want to do, personality traits is the most important thing. You take a look at the personality traits of 2002 to 2006, or 2004, 2005, you're seeing Highbury. That's football. It's Emirates now. And Arteta is bringing back, and I don't know how, he's bringing back Highbury. And I've got time for that. I've got so much time for that because there's more Arsenal fans that know Highbury and how important that is than there is Arsenal fans that respect Emirates. So instantly you've gone back to what football is for us. Great manager. Great man.
Do you reckon you'll be able to pick up tickets for next week? First game, First English club back having fans?
No way. But because it's the Emirates, the first 1,850 people will all be individuals that probably are not that interested in football. It's a day out for the family. And that's the reasons why Arsenal I have a problem. I wish Arteta was in charge of that. So you know at least 1,900 of them fans, when Arsenal score, it sounds like 60,000.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear, hey! I want to hear the Highbury scream when there was a goal going against us. I want to feel that emotion, bro, when you score that last-minute goal and the camera's shaking, and I want to feel that.
I think I've only ever experienced that 3 times at the Emirates, having that kind of feeling. Henry against United in 2007.
That was amazing.
Alexis against Burnley, where he Panenka the penalty in the last minute.
Where was I for that? I was in a whole other country for that, man.
And Giroud's scorpion kick. They're the only 3 times I've gone. The sound in this stadium is mental.
Now, that's because of the comparison of when it's crap. Now, I'm not saying Highbury was great, because it's called it the Highbury Library. But you see when Henry scores that 3rd goal against Liverpool, when we went out of the FA Cup and the Champions League, I think, in the space of a week, and we needed a hero. You see that energy? I felt it in my house. It wasn't on TV. I had to listen to it on the radio. My bro, I feel like crying now. Like, that was different levels of energy. It's different levels of energy. When Tony Adams or when Bergkamp scored that goal against Tottenham in a 3-1 win in like 96-97 season, you're talking about a different level of energy that can't be matched. So if the fans can feel it and the players can feel it, what are you going to do with that energy, bro? When I go and see my girlfriend, do you know how good I feel the next day? So if you've gone to Highbury and you've given them that win against 3-2 Manchester United, David Platt scoring, bro, that energy don't exist no more. I can give you tons of examples at Highbury where there was just a feeling, and I'm not relating it to me being young. I'm not, because I felt both things. I have it to compare to. At Emirates, it's a bit like a spectacle where it's like, oh my God, that was amazing. At Highbury, it was like, yes, we're one step closer. I don't feel like that at Emirates. People told me that Leicester City moment with that Danny Welbeck. I'm like, that's a watered down version of what happens at Anfield. I'll tell you that. Anfield gives you that feeling. That's why Man City's, it's a bit of like, Liverpool.
Yeah, I can relate because I've been to City away, I've been to Liverpool away, and Liverpool single-handedly, I've never been away in Europe, but Liverpool single-handedly was the most intimidating stadium in England.
My friend, when people take their mind out of Premier League and realise football is a global sport, it's not an English sport, it's a global sport. There are more intimidating grounds in the world than there are Hollywood grounds like Emirates. So if you're playing Hollywood football every week, are you preparing yourself for football or are you preparing yourself for a couple of Hollywood moments? I would prefer to prepare myself for football. I would rather have a ground where the fan is right close to me. So when I go play Burnley away, I don't feel so alien from it. You're protecting these players and you're putting them in these... At Highbury, bro, You might be able to touch his shirt. You could even see the manager's team sheets. At the Emirates, you can just about see the players on the top row. Like, it's just not football. So that energy that is created and that energy which was part of the foundation of football, if that no longer exists, and Arsenal really benefited through that and haven't really benefited through this transition, I would like to know who's going to save us. It seems like Arteta could be the only person because he comes in and understands the club. He's played in Glasgow, bro. He's played at Everton, Goodison Park, Ibrox. He knows the energy we need. And when I go to the Emirates, I'd rather stay at home. The only time I've actually felt it was Arsenal-Tottenham. Arsenal-Tottenham 4-2, I felt it. I did feel something. That was crazy. The fight, all of that. That was what I was talking about. That's what football is, bro. And that fight was frustration of not being able to express yourself. Can't even put your top over your head when you're celebrating. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah,
I just want football to go back to what it was for Arsenal, because I think that's where we can profit. That's when we can win, when we have that type of atmosphere. Not Hollywood. We can't win in Hollywood. And all that board guys, they have to accept it. Man United, they can't win in Hollywood. They've never been a Hollywood club. Man City can win in Hollywood because they didn't win anything before. Get it back to football.
Yeah.
Back to football.
As we go back to football now, in your opinion, Aubameyang on the left or Aubameyang in the middle?
Aubameyang in the middle.
Yeah.
I get why, but
I think he's better on the left.
This is the problem with playing Aubameyang on the left. When I watch Arsenal, it's very confusing for me sometimes. Aubameyang is on the left, and to accommodate the situation, they play two midfielders, and then they play a Saka in midfield or a Maitland-Niles in midfield, but they operate as a left winger as well to accommodate the fact that Aubameyang's a striker. And then we have a left back. So we have two left wingers and a left back. I don't know how it works because sometimes we win. I'm like, all right, cool. I watch Aubameyang versus Leeds. He's through the middle. That's where he should be, because then the person on the left's on the left. And I know Arteta's got a plan to accommodate that, like we won and all of that, but I'm just like, that can't be a plan that wins forever. It just doesn't look like a plan that wins forever. There was less teams playing than that. Then more like, no, we've complicated the thing that we want to do to accommodate what? Because we're still losing, and Aubameyang is the guy that's going to score us goals. Put him in between the sticks. So when he shoots, it's always on target. If he shoots straight, it's always on target. The mechanic you've got from Aubameyang, the man that's the most threatening, is outside of the sticks. I watched Alan Shearer speak in 2001 and say, if you're going through a goal drought, position yourself for 90 minutes in between the sticks. That way, if you've got your back to goal, you turn and shoot, you've got more chance of getting it on target. I'm not saying that's the ethos for a great striker, but that means if Aubameyang's going for a goal drought, he can't even do that. He's just out on the left. But that's our top goal scorer. That doesn't make sense to me. And if you had the guy in the middle that was like Balogun when he's 25, then cool, I'm up for that. But we have two strikers in the middle for me that I love and I appreciate, but unfortunately are not giving us the level of performance that can push us forward in certain situations. We lost a game the other day to, is it Leicester City? Is the conversation a loss if Lacazette gets that header?
No.
Is Lacazette a 25 goal plus striker?
No.
Is Aubameyang?
Yes.
So why is Aubameyang? My dad told me a long time ago, if you live like a man of God, you'll understand life is very simple. And if you live like a man of government, you will change your opinion every 4 years. Aubameyang through the middle being a striker makes sense. You put Aubameyang on the left and he has a few good games, it becomes a conversation. But in actual life, Aubameyang's more or less playing up front and being effective. So if that's the mechanic for us to get the most out of that tool, why is he on the left? He's on the left because the personnel we got are not good enough. So now we're having to accommodate Aubameyang. Cristiano Ronaldo. Man United accommodated themselves to Cristiano Ronaldo. Arsenal accommodated themselves to Thierry Henry. Barcelona accommodate themselves to Lionel Messi. Like, whatever he wants to do, we'll find the best way to get the tools out of him. I hope I'm wording it correctly. We are not doing that with Aubameyang, and that's confusing to me, irrespective of how I feel about Arteta. If Aubameyang's my best player, I would like to create a system which caters to that until we get the personnel we want to play the football we want to play. Anything else doesn't make sense to me. You're asking people to do jobs that you know they can't do. So when they disappoint you, it's like, oh, why did you do that? But he's never shown you anything else. Anything else. Nicolas Pepe is playing left wing and everyone's killing him. He doesn't get enough assists. He doesn't get enough that. He doesn't get... My bro, and this is no disrespect to the strikers. None. But in actual reality, we don't have 25 plus strikers. If you did, but Pepe wouldn't frustrate you that much.
Pepe doesn't frustrate me anyway, because I can see what he's trying. He's the only person in the Arsenal team that you think he's going to do something in a second.
Pepe is trying to work as a number 10 and a winger. So when he gets the ball as a winger, if he's unable to create something, what happens is when I watch most teams, is the individual in the middle that's creative comes along and goes, I'll help you out. Same way if I'm in the kitchen trying to make something, it's not going well, my girlfriend goes, hey, I'll help you out. Pepe gets the ball on the left. There is no creative player coming to say, hey, I'll help you out. It's my dad saying, I'll help you out in the kitchen. I appreciate it, and we might get it right, but if we're being totally honest, you're not good in the kitchen. So I don't want to see Xhaka come and collect the ball from Pepe. Not because I don't love and respect him, because Pepe's problem in that position there is he needs to hand the ball to somebody that could potentially create something or a yard of space for either him to utilise or the attacking player to utilise. Xhaka's not going to give me that. Ceballos may give me that, but Ceballos kind of wants to play the CM role and catch a good pass here and there as a deep line playmaker occasionally. We need that boy from the Red Bull in Austria, Baller. We need a Hassan Uwa. We need something like that. Otherwise, you're going to cost Pepe every week. Your top goal scorer is playing left wing, and the guy that's going to get you, I would say, no more than 15 this season has all the responsibility in the middle. That doesn't make sense to me. I just can't. I'm trying my hardest to think about it. I can't make the sense out of it.
Yeah. I think Aubameyang is on the left because, as you said, the personnel in the middle of the pitch. And because we have no runners from deep, the only runner we have is him. So him on the left, he kind of drags their centre-backs out wide and brings the striker in the middle, and he's 1v1. That's the only thing I can think of.
But it doesn't, because we're not scoring. And I know in theory, it sounds like it's good, but in my mind, the only thing that matters to me is what's happening in reality. So that way, if there's a problem and I'm attached to reality and I've seen it, I can solve it. But if I have an idealistic perspective of how something should work, and I keep pushing for that, and nothing in life has given me any indication that's going to happen, I've got to say, bro, I don't think that's going to work. And you can't say why, because I'll be like, bro, we've been waiting for how long? Aubameyang on the left, it has worked. You're right, it has worked. I have seen him score goals, but I've seen him score more through the middle. And he scores a lot from the left sometimes. But now, after that mechanic has been deployed, our team is not as good. We haven't got all the creative players that we had in the middle. Maybe when Aubameyang was scoring a couple goals from the left, he had at least now and then. Maybe a Mickey now and then. We had certain... My bro, like, Aubameyang needs someone in the middle that will feed him. That's not Arteta's fault. He doesn't have the money at the club. The board have the money at the club. They've allocated certain funds. Depending on how much money you give me, lets you know what type of player I can buy. I don't think he's been allocated the necessary funds to buy the right player in the finished article. So I think Arsenal should have always been looking at that. Dominic, I can't know how to say his second name, but he's such a good player for the level that he plays at. He just needs an opportunity to push on. If that's the money that we've got, that's the money that we've got. No point going Louis Vuitton with £100 complaining you can't buy shoes. You can't buy them, innit? Go find something else that can do a decent job as well. Yeah. Grow towards that. So this idealistic perspective of I'll play a Aubameyang left wing until I get what I want, I think is utter. If that's the case, I think it's nonsense. It's nonsense.
The pronunciation for the Salzburg player is Szoboszlai.
Szoboszlai.
Yeah.
He's a bro. I found him by accident. My brother said to me, go and watch Patson Daka for Zimbabwe, because I was saying Zimbabwe have got no footballers since like in love for commentary. Then I've seen this Dominic brother. I said, why ain't Arsenal looking at something like he is amazing? We're linked now, so I'm happy, but I doubt we're even probably getting, to be fair. Proper baller. That's what we need, man.
His price is very reasonable as well 3
How much is
installments
his
of
price?
25 million release clause. Yeah. Yeah. 3 installments as well.
I've
Half
got
of
a couple
Europe won
graduates
him.
in the hood that can help. If you're doing installments, my friends can help. Honestly, I just think that's what Arsenal should be doing, man. I see Leicester City do it really, really well for a few years. And I just really appreciate the way Leicester City do their business. Where once that 24-year-old is, you know, getting attention elsewhere, like the Mahrez is, like the Kantes, or that 25-year-old, they've already signed a replacement that wasn't the talked about thing, or they'll just sign another younger player, not making a big hype. And Didi, we'll just sign him. We'll nurture him for a little while. And now we don't even speak about you miss Kante. That's not a conversation we've got in Didi. The conversation's not needed no more.
Right.
Harvey Barnes, is the conversation going to be needed about wingers that have left the club? If you've got Harvey Barnes performing some of the... We've got Maddison. I just like that mechanic of business. Their right back's gone. James has come in. I like that mechanic of business. And it's not even big hype. It's just like he's always been here.
Soyuncu. You don't even remember Maguire paying for Leicester.
Do you care that Maguire's not there no more when Soyuncu's just...
No.
I think that mechanic of business is easy for Leicester to do because they're not a high-profile club. But either way, I respect the way they do it. And I'm just saying, Arsenal, under Wenger, we kind of did that. We lost so many guys through that transitional period. And Nasri will just come in. We've lost Clef. Oh, Nasri's here. What? Nasri's here. Where did Nasri come from? We're dying out for a DM. I've watched Song for Charlton on loan. I said, what are we going to do there? Song comes back and ends up getting a move to Barcelona for his performances and relationship with Van Persie. You're just like, Wenger always knew how to find a replacement that you wouldn't worry about. Get someone in the club that can do that. You don't even, like, when everyone's panicking, this guy just comes and does everything. 30 million, 35, 20, 25. Where is that guy who can bring that to our club?
I mean, personally, I think Thomas Partey pretty much solves a mad issue we had.
Good business.
45 million. Gabriel as well. I mean, 24 million for him. Wow.
Good business. And in France, there's more. Yeah. Bro, people undermine French football. French football is the Premier League in the late 90s. PSG are like Manchester United. Lyon are probably your Arsenal. And then everybody else is having a laugh. That's just what it is. It doesn't mean that there's not quality players there. You see a Kone. I'll take a Kone tomorrow. Mbappe's dad used to train him. I'll take a Kone tomorrow. Right winger, left-footed. You get him at the club. You get, or put him left and whatever. You just get 2 wingers. You don't have to worry about putting a Bamiyang left wing. Jeremy Doku. Maybe Jeremy Doku's a bit young. But Bamba at flipping. Where's Bamba at?
Lille.
He's another left-footed winger.
Plays at Lille as well.
Good player. Good player, bro. And they're not going to cost the same that a player will cost when it's like a mad expectation on them and they've got the new fee for this. And, bro, you can find players at cheaper rates that can do the job and they can go under the... Martinelli. Who would have thought Martinelli would have been this year? I need more Kieran Tierney. We all knew about Tierney, but still, Scotland. They got a striker called Edward.
Yeah.
PSG Academy. Baller.
He's the one I want.
Højbjerg. I asked for Højbjerg as soon as I saw him go to Southampton. I read the reports about him at Bayern Munich. Then I watched him play. I said, oh my God. I need Arsenal to forget about the glamour. Go back to football. It's not about the Hollywood. It's not about, we need to get Kevin Costner in a new film. Forget that. If there's a 21-year-old actor who could do the same job at a cheaper rate and he's great and you're busting new talent, that's what it is. And that's what I want Arsenal to go back to because...
I'll give you a name to keep. I'll give you a name to keep an eye on if you're looking for players to look at. Jeremy Boga at Sassuolo in Italy, unbelievable. Baller.
I'm going to look. You think I'm joking, innit?
He's incredible.
Not YouTube. Twitter had me up like a year ago or a year and a half ago looking at some guy they said was the new Messi called Almada for Velez. I'm looking at this kid like, do you mean no one cares? Almada's out here just going crazy. Let's go monitor this boy. Let's go send some scouts that they did to. That's why they watched Reyes like 65 times before they signed him. Like, I just want it to go back to football, because if that is the principle to get it correct, just apply that, and anything you do added, like the video, this and that, I don't mind any of that. But you see the primary way of doing your job. Never forget that. And that's what Arsenal have forgotten, bro. Completely. Joke. But I'll go look at him, bro.
Trust me. If I said to Arteta now, I give you 50 million, go and buy Boga and Szoboszlai. They're the two players that changed our whole team.
Wow.
100%.
I mean, I want a centre back, but I hear you.
I think William Saliba can do the job personally.
Too young. It's a lot of pressure on a young man. I'm not saying he hasn't got the talent, but if that was your son, and you know he's got the talent, and you've watched him grow, and you know it, but he needs a bit of time. He needs to be in an environment where there's not the pressure of having a big performance. Imagine Ashley Cole came up today. Ashley Cole came up at a time where Silvinho was playing. We didn't really need a left back, and then all of a sudden, there's this kid that was playing up front or left wing, and he's looking like he could be the next left back. Let's give him a couple games. Scores a free kick against Man City in a league game. You're looking at him a bit more. Then you're saying, do you know what? Because you're seeing him in training, you're like, you know what, Silvinho? You can go, my brother. Ashley Cole's the main left back. You go France, you find some guy called Gael Clichy, 18. Look what he done in his career. I'm saying, to me, that makes sense. That's all I want to see. Am I asking a lot? No, because I've seen it happen in life. Seen it happen in life. Those are the things that need to be happening at football clubs more often, because it's just better. You're nurturing younger talents. Saliba needs someone to teach him, bruv. Like, someone he will respect. And then you can throw Saliba in. But you sent him on loan. He played first team football in France. The intensity in England is completely different. And you're going to ask him, for a club that finished 8th last season, that is trying to get back in the Champions League, you're going to say him and Gabriel, I mean, I know you're not, none of you are past 25. And I know a lot of the strikers you're going to deal with are really dangerous, like Harry Kane and all that. But I'm sure you'll be fine. Bobby Firmino, who pops up at the halfway line and then pops up over here. One of you lot got to monitor him. You've never dealt with anything like that in your life, but I'm sure we can't do that. We've got to have an experienced guy there who says to him, don't worry, he plays, and that's what you need. And I mean a good experienced guy. Not an experienced guy that's been here for a long while. I don't want any of that. We've got too many mediocre centre-backs for me. And I just want a good centre-back that we can all love and trust. And then he can learn from them. I asked for Lewis Dunk in the summer. I don't care. He's a centre-back, bruv. That man will head everything out. He may not be glamorous. He may not be what people like. But if a fruit bowl only had 7 mangoes in it, I don't think I'd like the fruit bowl. Give me some variety. We had Sol Campbell when we went bloody unbeatable. 2002, we won the league. We had Tony Adams. Not every single game, but Tony Adams is there. When we first won the league, these are defenders that are not that beautiful to watch. But guess what? They're effective today. They're effective today. They are still effective. Carlos Puyol was very effective. Still effective. If he played today, he would be still effective. He has the principles of defending. It's just not an elegant watch. I don't care about that, bro. Lewis Dunk scores free kicks. Yeah. Role players, man. Man, I love football. I love football so much.
I could literally talk to you all day about football. Literally, you share the same passion as I do, and it's enthusiastic for me because I just love it. But unfortunately, this is my last question.
Yeah, no problem.
And so we've seen the Premier League take the knee, and we see the NBA stand up and literally go on strike for Black Lives Matter and social injustice. And I always think it's imperative that we always raise awareness. No matter how big your platform is, we always have to raise awareness on it. But do you think sports and football in general could do more to support the social injustice and Black Lives Matter and that kind of thing? Because we've seen it with Sterling and all the other Black players in the Premier League. They still suffer from it online, and not so much in stadiums because there's no fans, but they still suffer a lot from it.
Every country in this whole world is governed. however country is governed will affect the community of people within it, even without them knowing. Everything I watch in England on television is different to another country. So even the content I watch on TV is governed. Whoever's governing everything has a job, has an objective to meet. If me being a black boy in England is not part of the government's plan in a sense of accommodating to my needs and necessities, which is different to yours and needs and necessities, Ryan. We're the same by science, but we are different because of history. That's nobody's fault apart from the wankers from the past. All right, cool. If that exists today because of the past, but the way we're governed is not too dissimilar, how can I expect change in football? How? I'm not born and I go, I'm a footballer. I'm born in the country. I'm born into a government. So if I'm not governed correctly to help me for life, so no matter what country I go to, the way I've been taught in England, I could survive anywhere else. If that's not a mechanic I have, that means when I go to Spain, I'm going to have different views to everybody because that's the way I'm taught in England. And that's going to create conflict. Who knows what happens off the back of conflict? Because remember, I'm going to tell you, well, I don't care because I'm going back to England. Well, I don't care, I'm staying in Spain. And then there's racism in football. That's a byproduct of government. The racism's come from somewhere. It's not just black. It's not just it exists in football and everywhere else is nice. It exists in life. So if you ever want to stop something in the whole of your life, you make sure you stop the root. Otherwise, you'll be trying to stop that one problem for the rest of your life. That's the only way I can answer that question. I know, man.
Yep. Again, I just wanted to raise awareness for the situation because I was part of the marches in London and I appreciate the movement and all of that kind of thing because I think it's terrible how certain people can be discriminated against because of what they look like.
And Ryan, do you know what? I can tell you again, as a person that's fought for this a lot. I mean, on Copper 90, on 2014, I was called racist, everything. When the Raheem Sterling thing happened, and there was incidents before that I saw in Brazil and so forth, I'd always speak about it. But because of the way we're governed within this country, everyone thinks I'm crazy. I don't listen to government in this country because I listen to my dad. And my dad's a proper strong Rasta, so his whole thing is what's right in life. And going back to football, just seeing the way like you even saying it to me now and all of that, I'm so happy that there's the perspective in people is changing and you're not quite sure what you can do to help. So what you do is you raise awareness. So maybe someone else will see that information and know what to do. Like, that's so beautiful. Like, you don't have to do that. And I really, really appreciate that. Do you know where I'm coming from? But you see the people that do know what to do to change it? When people are raising awareness, listen, that's the community telling you they don't like something. And if you have all this power and it still exists, that means that's what you want to be here. And there's nothing I can do about that, bro. If you can find some guy in a hole in Iraq, I don't know how you can't find a racist in a football ground. A guy was chilling in a hole somewhere and you found him and killed him. And I'm just asking people to find somebody in a football stadium and use him as an example of something you shouldn't be. And then give that, and do you know what? Don't punish that guy so he hates the people that, no, educate him. Tell him like why you shouldn't do it and how beneficial it would be to you and your life if you was to not deploy that mechanic. I think that's the best thing to do. Not just shout at someone, why did you do that? And walk away. Educate them. Tell them why it's wrong. So
education reform, that's another thing.
So the problems that exist in football, all they ever do is show you the problems that exist in life. So if you ever isolate it to football, you will ignore it at the corner shop. You'll ignore it at Marks and Spencer. You ignore it until it's plain in your face. And that's what football does. It makes racism plain in your face. You can't avoid it now. I said to everybody, I don't feel English because this country doesn't allow me to feel English. You're chatting crap. And then Raheem Sterling gets racially abused on national television. How is any black person going to come to this country and say, I feel at home? This doesn't make sense. So, yeah, man, this government's got a lot to answer for.
Yeah. So thank you for joining me. It's been an absolute pleasure for myself to talk to you and get your thoughts on a number of subjects. And as I said, I could talk to you all day about football and anything really. So again, thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much, Ryan, man. And keep doing all the good work you're doing. Tell your two guys, fam, all three of you can go and do great things as long as you just keep working as hard like you're working now, man. So thank you. Thank you for continuing the good work, bro.
Thank you for the nice words. And if you want, you can maybe put in a good word with Hector himself.
Oh, Fee, do you know what? Hector's really close with Vuj and close with Timsy. You see this house? If this house was Hector Bellerin, I'd put in a good word for you. Because I spend so much time with the house. He would be like, yeah, anything for Ryan. But yeah, I couldn't promise that. But definitely give Vuj and Timsy a shout, and who knows what can happen.
Well, thank you again for giving me your time today. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you.
See you later, bro.
See you later. So that was Poet from Poet of Vuj on YouTube. It's a great interview. Thank you for joining me. It's a shame Raf and Sam couldn't be with us today. But we're back again on Tuesday where we are previewing the North London derby, the small matter of that game. Don't forget to subscribe to Sports Talk Line, where we talk sports 24/7, 365. I've been Ryan, I've been your host, and have a good day.